ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिनी व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. In the Viveka Chudamani Prakarana Grantha by Adi Shankaracharya, Acharya devotes the first almost 72 verses to explain what is the kartavyata, what is the main purpose of the precious human birth, and that is moksha praptihi. After which Acharya systematically takes up the topic of anatma, the Panchakosha Viveka topic, analyzing the 5 layers of human existence very, very systematically, pointing out what are the constituents of every kosha and what are the dharmas, the attributes, and what is the role and the purpose. And we have almost completed the Annamaya kosha or the Sthula Shariram. And now we are in the midst of this Prakarana dealing with the subtle body or the mind. And what is the logic being used here? Simple. Drishyatvat anityaha. Anityatvat anatma. So whatever I experience, whatever I can observe, whatever I can use, like the body and the functions it plays and all the karanas, that is the use of this sanghata, karya karana sanghata, this assemblage. How can I be it? So I am the perceiver, the observer, the experiencer. Drigeva nadu drishyavastu. So that is the main logic used here. Now in the 101st verse where we concluded, we saw the Indriya dharmas being negated. What are the Indriya dharmas? The properties of all the sense organs. So Acharya says, let us take the eyes. For the eyes, there can be patutvam. Patutvam means very sharp, good eyesight. Or it can be mandatvam, defective eyesight, hazy, dull. Or it can be andhatvam, absence of eyesight even. But that does not pertain to Atma. Now, extending the same logic to all the other organs, even if one limb or one organ is malfunctioning or defective, then I am not lame or mute or deaf or blind, says Acharya in the 101st shloka. So, this is called the approach, objective approach and localization. Localization. So whatever happens to the Sthula, Sukshma, Shariram does not happen to me. I, the Atma, the Drik Swarupaha. Then who am I? I am Chakshushaha Chakshuhu, Pranasya Pranaha, Manasaha hi Manaha, Vacho hi Vachaha. So Atma was defined in the Kena Upanishad as the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, and the prana of the prana. So there is this independently existing tattvam that governs the entire karya karana sanghata, this body mind sense assemblage. So that is where we stopped. Now we will move on to the next shloka, 102nd shloka, after the Indriya dharmas. So how did the Indriya dharmas get negated in the previous shloka? Simply by the logic, drishyatvat. I am the knower whether my eyes function or not. So whatever function the body, mind is performing, I am the observer, I am the Sakshi. So that Sakshi is distinct. That is the whole point here. Now, Acharya moves on to the Prana Dharmas. So, what are the Prana Dharmas? Next shloka, number 102, is this one. उच्छ्वास निश्वास विजृंभण क्षुत उच्छ्वास निश्वास विजृंभण क्षुत प्रस्यन्दनाद्युत्क्रमणादिकाः क्रियाः प्रस्यन्दनाद्युत्क्रमणादिकाः क्रियाः प्राणादिकर्माणि वदन्ति तज्ञाः प्राणादिकर्माणि वदन्ति तज्ञाः प्राणस्य धर्मावशना पिपासे प्राणस्य धर्मावशना पिपासे. Now here similarly using the same logic, the prana dharmas are going to be negated. Now as you all know, prana is the driving force in our bodies. It is the fuel. It is the fuel which prompts the karmendriyas to respond to situations in life. It is responsible for all the physiological actions. In fact, prana is the only thing that continues in deep sleep. Everything else is withdrawn, but prana continues as long as there is prarabdha for the jiva. So what does Acharya say here? Uchshvasa, nishvasa, vijrimbanam, kshut, prasyandana adi utkramanadikaha kriyaha. Pranadi karmani vadanti tatnyaha pranasya dharmau ashana pipasa. So we have to break the samasas there. So here, this shloka is mainly about what are the prana activities. Uchshvasa Nishvasa simply is referring to respiration, exhalation and inhalation. Then Vijrimbanam. Vijrimbanam is the yawning. When we are tired or sleepy, then there is the yawning function. All this is due to the prana. Then Kshut. The word Kshut means hunger. Praspandanam. Praspandanam means circulation, which is performed by the Vyana prana. Now we saw earlier also how the pranas are put together by the Rajoguna, collective Rajoguna of all the Panchatanmatras. Then the one prana divides into 5 and how they govern all the physiological functions in the whole body. So this praspandanam is governed by the Vyana prana. And Uchshvasa, Nishvasa is prana apana. Then there is samana for digestion. Then there is utkramanam. Utkramanam is the upward movement. In the upper regions of the body, we have this yawning, then blinking of the eyelids, then coughing, then vomiting and hiccups. All this in the upper part, which is done by the upward prana. Udana vayu. And there is one special function we saw is when the prarabdha is over, then the jiva has to get out of the body. So that Udana vayu or the time clock is responsible for the subtle shariram to come out of the body along with the reflected consciousness and the sense organs to move on to the next environment, the next birth. So that is the second line. Praspandanadi utkramanadi kaha kriyaha. All this is the domain of prana. Now, pranadi karmani vadanti tatnyaha. Tatnyaha means those who are experts and specialists in this matter. They say that these are all physiological functions. They're all governed by the prana. And what are they? Pranasya dharmaha. They are the nature, the dharma attributes of pranavayu. But again, we can observe the prana. When my prana is low, there is fatigue. I'm tired or hungry or thirsty. That's the last word. Ashana pipasa. Ashana means hunger, pipasa is thirst. These are called the natural afflictions of the body. Bhagavan has naturally created that in the body. And because they're natural dharmas, there is also natural food. Water to quench the pipasa and herbs, plants and, herbs from the nature to satiate the ashana. So these two lines are describing the distinct pranic activities, the physiological functions, and again using the same logic, drik, drishya, viveka, and we can observe these functions and how these pranas, they all are withdrawn in deep sleep, except for the minimum prana to keep the breathing continuing. उच्छ्वास निश्वास विजृंभणक्षुत प्रस्पन्दनाद्युत्क्रमणादिकाः क्रियाः प्राणादिकर्माणि वदन्ति तज्ञाः प्राणस्य धर्मावशना पिपासे. So with that, the pranamaya kosha or the vital sheath is neti neti, negated. Now we have seen earlier, negated is not discarded, but understood as mithya. So the mithyatva means it is functional. It is very necessary, but it cannot be I. I, the one, the person, the jiva. Now the author moves on to the topic of ahankara and is going to establish that even that ahankara, who I think I am, that is also a mithya ahankara. Let's go over to the 103rd shloka. अंतःकरणमेतेषु चक्षुरादिषु वर्ष्मणि अंतःकरणमेतेषु चक्षुरादिषु वर्ष्मणि अहमित्यभिमानेन तिष्ठत्याभासतेजसा अहमित्यभिमानेन तिष्ठत्याभासतेजसा अंतःकरणमेतेषु चक्षुरादिषु वर्ष्मणि अहमित्यभिमानेन तिष्ठत्याभासतेजसा अंतःकरणम् एतेषु चक्षुरादिषु वर्ष्मणि अहम् इति अभिमानेन तिष्ठति आभास तेजसा. Very simple and very clear shloka. Now, this antakarana, we have seen the antakaranam is the word inner instrument for the mind. And this antakaranam has a fourfold functions. Also we saw it has vrittis, thoughts, that is the manas. Then it has decisive, determining vrittis, that is the buddhi. Then it has the memory function, recall function, that is chittam. And then this shloka talks about the fourth, that is the I notion. Now, the I notion is I am so and so. This belongs to me. First, the I notion has to come. Then everything else will come and attach to the aham. My family members, my possessions, my car, my home, my role, my house, everything. So, aham and then mama, me. So, aham, mama. So here it's pointing out how did this I notion arise in this antakaranam? That is basically what the shloka is saying. Now, this chakshuradishu, the eyes and the ears and the nose and the tongue, we have seen how there is a perfect matching between the subtle indriyani and their physical counterparts. Where are the physical counterparts? Varshmani. Varshman is the word for sthula shariram. In the physical body are these locations. They're called golakas. Physical ear, physical eyes, and tongue are all in the sthula shariram, varshmani. But the subtle faculties, they are put together intelligently by the sattva guna of the panchatanmatras. We have seen all this. Now what happens is, in this This antakaranam tishtati, it abides. It abides how, in what form? Aham iti. Aham iti means now there is an I notion in the mind. The mind is subtle matter, body is gross matter. Where did the I come from? Abhasa tejasa. Now, tejas means shine or radiance. So, we will take tejas to mean the sentience. So, when the mind is compared to a mirror, even Dakshinamurti Stotram, we saw this. The mind is like a mirror, and every mirror will reflect whatever comes in front of it. So every sukshma shariram, that is every antakaranam, will what? Will capture the reflection of original consciousness. And that is what we call RC, reflected consciousness. So we are all so many different RCs right now. Localized, individualized, conditioned consciousness. Original consciousness is limitless. There are no boundaries. But once that gets reflected in an antakaranam, the subtle mind, then the I notion, limited I notion arises. Now it is as though that limitless I, Ishvara, is confined to has become the limited notional I. I am so and so, the daughter, parent, husband, wife, and so and so. That is what is said here. That ahamiti abhimanena, there is a abhimana. Now we have seen in the context of Vedanta, abhimana does not mean pride. It means tadatmyam. Tadatmya means the I notion, the connection. So now in the sentient mind that is glowing with Chaitanyam, the I notion is there. I am so and so. So now the I is placed in the Karyakarana Sanghata, body, mind, sense complex, and says, this is my body, this is me. This is how I think, how I feel, how I decide. The mind belongs to me. So this is ahamiti abhimanena ahankaraha tishtati. Now this mind is all lit up and glowing, and it resides in this form, ahankara form. So that word abhasa means pratibimba. Pratibimba means reflection. So all this we have seen many times before. Chidabhasaha is another word. Reflected consciousness, pratibimba, abhasa. That is the reflection of chit, is chit abhasa. And that is confined to one particular body. Okay. So that is all about ahankara here. So now Acharya is also going to analyze how this ahankara will become now karta bhokta, and then the karta bhokta will become sukhi dukhi. But are you sukhi dukhi? No. Because all these are going to be negated as states of the mind. They're all manodharma. Ahankara is the mode of the mind. And the mind, raises this I notion, and the I notion will attach itself to all kinds of anatma, family anatma, possessions, world, role playing, and everything. And in the end, Acharya is going to negate it because even the ahankara comes and goes. Where is ahankara in the deep sleep? It is not there. But it returns in the waking state, and there is a different ahankara in the dream state. So there is no consistent stability. And what is anityam cannot be satyam brahma. So that is the next few shlokas. Let's chant this again. अन्तःकरणमेतेषु चक्षुरादिषु वर्ष्मणि अहमित्यभिमानेन तिष्ठत्याभासतेजसा 104 अहङ्कारसविज्ञेयः कर्ता भोक्ताभिमान्ययम् अहङ्कारस्य विज्ञेयः कर्ता भोक्ताभिमान्ययम् सत्त्वादिगुणयोगेन चावस्थात्रयमश्नुते अहङ्कारः सः विज्ञेयः कर्ता भोक्ता अभिमानी अयम् यण् सन्धि Bhokta Abhimani Ayam. Satvadi Gunayogena Cha Avasthatrayam Ashnute. This shloka is also about Ahankaraha. What about Ahankaraha? Ahankaraha is Saha Vigneyaha. Now, Vigneyaha means that which is to be known, Nyatavyaha. So, the Ahankara is to be known, Saha Vigneya. How? Known as what? As Karta Bhokta. So, now this is the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is going to be negated. So, who is the Karta Bhokta? This Ahankara. No, and Ahankara is the, is like that top reigning champion in any sport, the top seed. And so if somebody wants to win, what does somebody have to do? Like, India has to knock out South Africa on Sunday to become champions, right? So this is called Prathama Malla Nyayaha. Malla means wrestler. So in the wrestling rounds, or for that matter, any sport, then we eliminate in the quarterfinals and then semifinals and then finals. So in the finals, if one eliminates the top champion, then one is victorious. No? So if we knock out the Ahankara, is the top champion, then there is moksha. That is the idea here. So Ahankara is Vigneyaha, is to be known as what? Karta Bhokta. So this Ahankara I notion, it will not simply sit quietly as I. So when there is a Aham I notion in the mind, which is lighted up by Chaitanyam, what will happen? All the idam vrittis will come. I like this. I don't like that. I am the father. I have to do this. I don't want to do this. So this is called the play of aham and idam vrittis in the sentient mind. And as a result, what? That aham becomes karta. And karta eva bhokta. If I, as a karta, I cook for people, I prepare nice dishes, then I am the karta. And then when all the guests have eaten and they praise me, I become the bhokta. So I receive all the praise and then I feel very happy about it. So I'm the enjoyer because I was a doer earlier. So this doer, wherever there is a doership, there will be an enjoyership. And who is doing all this? Karta. And who is the karta? Ahankara. And ahankara is the I notion. I notion in the mind. That localized individual consciousness, RC. That is the first line. Ahankaraha savigneyaha karta bhokta abhimani ayam is the one who has this sadhatmyam. Now, second line says this ahankara is very busy in the three avasthas. Avastha trayam ashnute. What is the ahankara doing in all the three states? It is said Sattvadi guna yogena. So the three gunas, ahankara is now going to connect with the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. We have seen in the Bhagavad Gita, a sattvic karta will engage in sattvic karmas. Rajasic will give rise to rajasic karmas and tamasic karmas. And the commentator here explains how the waking state, which guna is predominant? Rajoguna. So when we get up in the morning, predominantly we'll see the 18 hours or so of the daytime will be Rajopradhana time. So this Ahankara as a Karta will undertake various activities, engage in Vyavahara, and this is due to Rajoguna. Yeah. So Avasthatrayam Ashnute. Ashnute means obtains. So the Ahankara obtains the three states, that is waking, dream and deep sleep, due to the gunas. So Rajoguna in the waking state impels this Karta Bhokta Ahankara to action. Then what about the dream state? The commentator says, the mind is really, the nature of the mind is predominantly sattvic. So the dream state is supposed to be a sattvic state. where there is no real rajas impelling one. So where one is more or less a bhokta. So the sattva guna in the dream stage will impel the ahankara in to be the dreamer. And then finally, in deep sleep, what happens? Which guna is predominant? Obviously, tamo guna. So deep sleep state, the whole ahankara is blanketed, no, eclipsed, and it is eclipsed and it is suppressed. It's in a frozen state. So in that tamoguna, ahankara is not destroyed. It is only in a capsulated form in the karana shariram. The I has been withdrawn. So here the shloka says, avasthatrayam ashnute ahankaraha. That is the role of the ahankara. What is it in the three states? In the waking state, it's super active, role playing, duties, desires, pursuit of karma, karma, karma. Then, when it is tired, it goes through the dream stage and connected with the sattva guna, it dreams. Then, finally, tired of dreaming. Then, due to the tamoguna, it is withdrawn, this ahankara. And that is why when there is no ahankara, then that is where we experience the maximum anandam. So, sleep avastha shows us that this without the ahankara, without the I notion, there is no me, there is no mine. And without attachments, without anything, without the world of time and space, can I not be happy? Yes. And that is my true nature. That is Svarupananda. So that is the whole purpose, is to Ishwarize the ahankara. Make the ahankara badhita ahankara. Badhita ahankara is sublated ahankara. So from tamasika ahankara, upgrade to rajasika, then rajasika to sattvika, and then become a nitya sattvastaha, as Krishna tells Arjuna. So Jnani has that nitya sattvastaha guna. That is absolutely pure Shuddha Sattva will be there. So this is the role of the ahankara. Karta bhokta eva ahankaraha. अहङ्कारसविज्ञेयः कर्ता भोक्ताभिमान्ययम् सत्त्वादिगुणयोगेन चावस्थात्रयमश्नुते. Now let's go to the next shloka, and which is about this Sukhi Dukhi Jiva. How did this Jiva become Sukhi Dukhi, sometimes happy, sometimes sad? Because the Jiva was a Karta Bhokta earlier. And where did that come from? Because of Ahankara. So the Ahankara becomes a doer, the doer becomes the enjoyer, and the enjoyer has to receive the Sukham and Dukham in the form of Karma Phalam. So this is the Samsara Chakra, which has been pointed out in the next shloka, 105. We'll do just this one more shloka and conclude. विषयाणामानुकूल्ये सुखी दुःखी विपर्यये विषयाणामानुकूल्ये सुखी दुःखी विपर्यये सुखं दुःखं च तद्धर्मः सदानन्दस्य नात्मनः सुखं दुःखं च तद्धर्मः सदानन्दस्य नात्मनः विषयाणाम् अनुकूल्ये सुखी दुःखी विपर्यये सुखम दुःखम च तद्धर्मः सदानन्दस्य न आत्मनः. Now, Acharya is pointing out to the Antakarana dharmas. That what about Sukham and Dukham? Is that the nature of Atma? Or is it Antakarana dharmas? That is being pointed out here. So, Vishayanam Anukule. Now, Anukula means favorable. Pratikula is unfavorable. So Vishayanam Anukulye Sati. This is Sati Saptami. That is when situations in life are favorable. Yeah, when we like something happening, an event, then what happens? What is the state of ahankara? Sukhi ahankara. No, that karta bhokta ahankara becomes sukhi, happy. When we have a coffee, early morning coffee, we're all sukhi, enjoying that, that the taste. The taste gives us anandam, sukhi. But viparyaye means pratikulye, when there's an adverse situation, when something was denied to us that the mind wanted, then that ahankara, karta bhokta ahankara becomes what? Dukhi. That's the first line. Vishayanam anukulye. When the Vishaya sense objects, when they are gained and when there is a favorable situation and there is a gain which is centered on a person or on a possession, favorable, then one is Sukhi. That is, Ahankara is in a Sukhi state of the mind. But Viparyaye, opposite, adverse to that, then what is the state of Ahankara? Dukhi. Then the second line, Acharya says, Sukham Dukham cha tad dharmaha. But are these not the states of the mind? Tad dharmaha. Tad dharma means they are attributes of the antakaranam. Now this mind has a happy vritti. The mind has come to the conclusion, okay, this rose is beautiful, I like it, I'm happy. So buddhi has concluded and ahankara is owned up that now I am happy. All this is happening in a split second in the mind. So this is manodharma, antakarana dharma. But what about Atma? Has Atma become happy? No. That's the last line. Sadanandasya na atmanaha. It is not a dharma of Atma which is Sadananda. Sadanandasya atmanaha na. Negating it. Now let's take the Dukkham situation. One is going through some unfavorable situation, one got hurt, or there is a loss in life. Again, the mind will go through that vritti, dukkha vritti. In the mind, there will be a memory that causes sadness, or the current event. Some India lost the match and we feel sad. We have identified with that. So the ahankara becomes dukkhi ahankara. But that is not who Atma is. Atma does not become Sukhi or Dukhi because Atma never was the Karta and Bhokta. And Atma is not the Ahankara. So Atma is the Nitya Swarupaha. No? So, the Sukham and Dukham situations in life, they keep coming again and again in everyone's life. When I was waiting to check in, at the airport in Madurai, there was a long line. So I became dukhi. And then I spotted a staff at a counter who was free and I signaled from there, I'm a senior citizen. We have to take advantage. Senior citizen is also because of the Stula Shariram, is 60 plus. So then immediately he removed the boundary. He signaled me to come. I became Sukhi. And then I wanted a window seat. He said, no, Dukhi. Then aisle seat, Sukhi. Then in the flight, I wanted to have a pre-mixed tea or coffee, So I asked for some hot water. And the hostess said, yes, madam, I will bring it right away. And suddenly, the pilot says, we're going through air turbulence. We cannot serve hot beverages and hot water. Then I was again disappointed. Then after 5 minutes, she brings me the hot water and I had my chai or coffee and again Sukhi. So here the shloka is showing us the difference between Sukham and Anandam. What is the difference? Sukham is Agama Payanaha, coming and going, arriving and departing. It is experiential. It is centered on an event, centered on something. Coffee, tea, rasagullas, or a person. If the person is there, I'm happy. If it is good weather, I'm happy. And that is the nature of Sukham in this, context. Yeah? Whereas Anandam is referring to here as Swarupananda. Anandam is the nature of that Nityananda Paramananda. And that is called Nirnimitta Ananda. That does not depend on any occasion. That does not need a reason or a cause for one to be happy. And we have seen this Atmani eva Atmana Tushtaha. The Atmajnani is happy for no reason. It does not mean that jnanis will not go through unfavorable situations. The mind will raise vrittis of disappointment, frustration, anger, upset, sadness, happiness, all will come for everybody in the mind. The mind is going to reflect, but at the same time, the jnanis have that distance, the objectivity, the jnana kavacham, to know that these are all manodharmas. This is not Atma Dharma. And so they stand apart. They have the distance and enjoy the show, enjoy the drama. In every movie, don't we have this comedy, tragedy, romance, everything is there. So they are, as the audience, enjoying the movie on the screen like mind. But at the same time, even though the mind goes through happy and sad states, but the jnanis don't become happy or sad because that identification is not there. Tadatmyam is not there. And that is why that ahankara, which becomes karta bhokta eva sukhi dukhi jivaha, who's a traveler, is not I. And that is the Atma Jnanam. Om पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ